let's keep our eyes and ears open on that strategy as it plays out for the 40-minute feature race. This is how they're lining up. Alex Court, lucky on the draw, gets the pole position, sharing the front row with Aaron Cooper. It's the invert of the top 10. Graham Smith, Sebastian Flock, row 2. Daniel Yeaman and Jeff Connell on row 3. Dylan O'Shea, Brad Watson, Lachlan Capel, and Marcus Watson over the top 10. And then it's into starting race 2 as they finished race 1. Christopher Hen, Matthew Johnson, etc. As we showed you after race number 1. The field getting ready for this one. The sun lower towards the horizon, the light more golden, and the track, has it cooled off at all? Just a little bit. They're getting ready. The pace car is in. The leader has to hold the speed till Barney waves the green flag. He's got it in the air. He drops it. Get racing for 40 minutes. A good jump from the pole sitter again, Alex Court. Oh, but there's drama already.
Yeah, and that's 2 Simrigs cars. So the Exodus racing car and the Simrigs DPR car. So that's gone horribly, horribly badly. And, oh, I just saw another car sliding
Dale
as
Carpenter.
well. Yeah, Carpenter. At the front, though, it's relatively clean, which is good to see.
Stop it, Jay. Just stop it. You tried it in race number 1 as well.
And in
come to
pass
the boil a little earlier in this one, but they are more single file through the S's this time around. I think the field was strung a little further for this one than the previous start. It's happened here over second and third, though. Aaron Cooper and Graham Smith. Smith's trying to get down the inside. The BMW couldn't do it. There's the view backwards from the Porsche and the nose of the Beamer. So who's made moves already in this lap? Well, Lachlan Capel has. He's up into 6th. Look at that Porsche there. He's leapfrogged himself from Sebastian Flock and Jeff Connell, who did not get a good start.
Ben Yeaman also making a couple of moves. He's up a spot and trying to get a couple more. As
Smith's around. He was trying to have another dig at turn 10A and B, and he finds himself in a position we've seen already tonight, trying desperately to rejoin without causing a giant accident. So Court still leads after lap 1. He's made good on that pole position. This is Christopher Hen facing the wrong way on the pit straight. A bit of contact might have helped him there. Yeaman will quickly be putting some pressure to the lead because he's worked his way through some of that carnage at the end of the first lap. Goes back one spot.
Oh, Flock.
Big one at 3. Big incident at turn 3.
Looks like it's only going to be a solo car incident, which is good to see, but
there's also a big incident at turn 3.
Oh. I've missed that one. There it is. We've got Liam Caplice, Adam Jepson involved. Flock's going to drop from, 6th down to 36 from that incident that he just had as well. Dylan O'Shea, he's looking to make moves very, very quickly here.
Yeah, he's looking around the outside of Aaron Cooper. Will be the inside at turn 10. Pretty deep. Looks to get clear so he can take the second apex. That's the key to making the pass there, because if the guy can still hold the apex for when the track flips back the opposite way, you can find yourself in trouble, and it's really compromised Cooper as well, because Lachlan Capel gets by him around. Oh, Cooper,
Whoa.
all sorts there.
Now, Marcus Watson in the pits very, very early. There is a bit of damage to the back of his car. He's actually forced into the pits because he's got a mechanical black flag. So, winner of race 1 in trouble early is Jeff Connell starting to get involved in the action. He and Brad Watson. Now, from memory, I'm going back what feels like into the olden days, but Watson and Connell used to be in some very, very heated rivalries.
Using the Nando's menu rating scale, how many chilies are we talking?
It's definitely not lemon and herb, I'll tell you that. We're going hotter than that. We're going hotter than base. So that'll be interesting to watch. Jeffrey Wang and Chu Kang going at it too, side by side through turn 9. Good commitment needed to outbrake someone through turn 10. The downhill can force everyone to break a little bit later than they might normally. They've got through that okay, but Jordan Ferguson trying to get involved, take advantage too of Chu Kang's tardy momentum out of turn 10.
Had a little bit of a wiggle as he gets the car down to 72 kilometers an hour.
Capel.
Where his pit crew are. Remembering they might have changed from last race and qualifying. Yeah, Lachlan Capel, there's a drum for him from our top 7 group.
Turns into a Victor Lawnmower instead of a drop bear Porsche. And yes, I can confirm my tongue did get tied, but in saying that, my tongue gets tied saying my own name. So it's not really a guide on whether something has been said previously or not. Comes Matthew Johnson, a driver that we saw very, very competitive last season. Of course, won the AM. Was it season 6 that he won the AM, or was it last season? No, O'Shea won it last season, so season 6. But Johnson was one of those drivers that always seemed to find himself around that top 10, and I think he had a couple of races where he was on that reverse grid pole.
He was always in contention of that kind of thing, wasn't he? We were seeing that paint on a BMW at times. And I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Everyone coming into the pits this lap. Court's in. Cooper in.
50-50 split from the front group, isn't it?
Yeah, Brad Watson's in. Matthew Webster's in. Adam Funslow's in. So Daniel Webster. Smith, Ferguson, Wang all in, but Broad has stayed out from that second group. So it's on for the lead still, but Connell and Capel, Matthew Johnson, Tyson Broad, Tim Harris are the ones that have stayed out. But O'Shea looks like he wants to steal the lead away from Yeaman. Yeaman doesn't look like he's too fast. He's just out there cruising. His worry is fuel conservation more than track position or battling for the lead, I would.
Yeah, you've got to measure it very carefully on this,
There's a balance, isn't there?
Because suddenly you're all by yourself and you are the leader. You've got to make sure you make it around races off of pit lane with some of these drivers rejoining.
Sam Lehman's gone the alternate strategy from what we saw him all last season. Last season, he went extremely late, was always the fuel saver. This time he's doing it the reverse fuel save. He's pitted early. He's going to try and extend the middle or late stint a lap longer, but he's come out in good track position. We said he was up, I think, 13 positions earlier. He's now up 15, so he's gaining spots. Technically, at the moment, Timothy Harris is the biggest mover, up 25, but of course he's going to lose most of them. Pit stop cycle, though, hasn't gone well for Derek Audie. He's received a black flag for speeding on pit exit.
Yeah, ouch. So now everyone is in.
Aaron Cooper's stolen the effective lead away from Alex Court.
Yeah, sure has. Court's under a bit of pressure now.
Oh, Timothy Harris has got a black flag.
Around. Oh, dear.
A new race leader, Dylan O'Shea.
Yeah, quicker than Yeaman through the pits. There's Jeff Connell rejoining in 4th. And Cooper gets around him.
Timothy Harris is still stationary with his stop and hold penalty for speeding in the pits.
He's going to be filthy. And so is Braden Martin, I reckon. So then your AM leader, Jeffrey Wang, still has a car between himself and Jordan Ferguson. And then a couple of cars to Gustavo Cirillo. So when you're at the very, very front of the AM class, you do get some, occasionally some buffer cars in between.
Heated pack for 4th in AM, though. This one here between Lehman, Baker, Feld, Potts, Buchanan, Riddell, Broch, Carpenter, Jeffrey, all in this together. We could see some fireworks in this little group here.
Cooper and Watson only went 8. Oh, O'Shea from the lead. A moment in turn 1. We've seen that. These Porsches very unstable at the limit through the fast turn number 1. It bit Ross Rizzo. It's bit Dylan O'Shea, and he's ceded the lead to Dan Yeaman. Connell and Cooper up into second and third. O'Shea looks like there's no damage there, so we'll take a look. But turn 1 and Porsches is becoming a bit of a combination here at Road Atlanta. Take a look.
Hit the grass on the outside? No. It went mid-corner, didn't it? And, oh, tell you what, how's that from Yeaman? That was almost heavy contact. Yeah, it's got away with it. And O'Shea could probably say he's got away with that relatively unscathed. I mean, he's only dropped to 7th position. He's still only 4 seconds behind the leader. That could have ended a lot worse for him.
Yep, car contact or the wall either side. That would have done it.
Or even spinning a little bit further. Like, oh!
He really has to squeeze his way down the inside Alex Court, doesn't he? There was a lane there, and he went for it. Alex Court tells us what he thinks about it. Now he looks like he's going to get swallowed up by Marcus Watson through the final corner, and Watson almost chops his nose off as well.
Funslow's in this as well, so you might see Adam Funslow try and steal a spot away as well. So won't at this stage, but battle looking relatively heated. Now, just noticing something while we were watching that replay for Dylan O'Shea, the man who was our AM class leader, well, I say was because he's now no longer. Jeffrey Wang's had an error, and now Jordan Ferguson leads AM.
Yeah, there was a little bit of space between him and even some buffer cars there as well. Now, back to the lead.
Something's happened to Graham Smith there too. Not sure what's happened there, but we've just lost Smith from the race.
In the SMS car. There we have. Definitely indeed have. Now immediately behind Ferguson is a lap down car and then Cirillo? No, that's Cirillo.
We got Wang and Cirillo there together.
Yeah.
Wang in the red Simrig's AUSPROAM car, and that is very, very tight. Cirillo can't get through with the Audi coming along the background of shot. No, he's a little bit further back. I'm not sure who that Ferrari is in the background. Might be Derek Audi actually in the background there. I think too, Dylan O'Shea's lost a spot to Marcus Watson. The lead now starting to get quite heated. Aaron Cooper
racing again.
Aaron Cooper was starting to drop a long way in that first stint, wasn't he? He was just getting passed, and everyone was sort of taking advantage and taking spots away from him. But this stint here, he's looked a lot stronger, and a change of position again for our AM class because the leader is now no more. Jeffrey Wang's got it back.
Top
Jordan Ferguson, turn 5.
Top at turn 5. It's facing the wrong way. It's getting dark and the sun's setting over Road Atlanta. Your leaders work their way through turns 10A and B, and Lachlan Capel decides he's done with 5th place. He wants up into 4th, and he gets it to try to push up to the leaders. There goes Watson the 2nd.
Dean O'Brien's just received a black flag as well, so that would potentially be for the incident limit. Not 100% sure, but likely if you're getting a black flag when you've been out racing at this point would be the most probable thing.
Could be the decision someone making. This is your leading battle. Lachlan Capel, remembering past Brad Watson not so long ago, he's right in position to try to get by Aaron Cooper. Capel pushing on here, and there he goes, so deep on the brakes. My goodness. And he's through.
That was a very, very nice move. Very, very difficult to pull off, but he's done a very good job. That was Lachlan Capel, and I don't see anyone in this lead group coming in now. I wouldn't be surprised if someone in that the top 5 of AM comes in to try and get out of traffic, try something different. I hope that they can get some clear track and maybe break away. Maybe someone in the lower regions of the top 10 might do that same sort of move, but it'd be risky with such a huge field because there's not much clear track out there, is there?
No, I would say so. We covered that off earlier. There's 100 meters to each car. The reality is that you get clumped in quite a bit. This has been a long one for Riddle, hasn't it?
No, he's only just jumped in. You saw in the background there, 2 Seb Flocks come in. Brandon Gotch has come in too. Brandon Levin has just come in as well. He did 14 laps on his stints. That's probably a guide for us as well. 14 being the most that I've seen anyone do since they came in for a pit stop at all. So that might be where we're looking. Maybe another 6 laps, which puts us to about 9 minutes to go in the race. So maybe our maths that we were working on right at the start of the night is about right.
Noticed into turn 10 where it's most noticeable. Capel not lifting as much as Connell and Yeaman seem to be doing. Woodward. Up at sort of 6-7.
Kang just gave up even position there too out of turn 10. Ran it very, very wide. Tyson Broads decided to bite the bullet and come in. So remember, he was in that top 10, in the top 5 at one point, but it's dropped backwards. See what he can do. Started this race in 5th. Got nothing to lose, I guess, from trying it from where he was.
Watching the leaders again, the LEDs on the car becoming more visible for Connell. He's got the one that enables. I think that's in the setup, so when I fix setup, you don't actually get to choose what colour or positioning your LEDs are in the Mercedes. Capel not quite so close, but then it's about from here you try to work out. Definitely Connell rolling it in a little bit.
Connell's the most aggressive on the fuel save into that point, you would suspect, which doesn't surprise anyone in this race at all, considering he has been the best at fuel saving in this series by a relatively big margin. The only one that I can think that would be as equal would be Ross Rizzo. Of course, is unfortunately out of the race. Onslow in, Matthew Johnson in. They've come in after only 10 and 11 laps, so surprised to see them in now, but then they may also be covering off Tyson Broad.
It will be 40 by the end. If you've been very aggressive on them early, you might start to feel it by the end more than you would in the 25 or 10-minute races we've seen already. So everyone now through pit lane, but hopefully the final time. Has the fuel save from Connell paid off? How quick is his final stop going to be compared to Yeaman and Capel, compared to O'Shea in the lane with him there?
Brad Watson, the leader of those that have pitted. Lachlan Capel looks like he's going to come out in front.
Capel and Yeaman going to jump to the front here, ahead of Connell and O'Shea. Here comes Brad Watson, who pitted a lap before.
Aaron Cooper, slow pit stop from him, so he's dropped out of this battle. So we've got 5 cars fighting for the lead, and Lachlan Capel with Dan Yeaman along behind. Drop Bear Motorsport 1-2.
Yeah, no doubt for the moment. The gang back together though. 5 cars for the lead here. Traffic's going to start coming a little thicker and a little faster towards the end of this one though.
The battle for the lead in AM is on between Wang and Cirillo, and you can see Hayden Veld is not that far behind, isn't it? Between Wang and Cirillo, who are nose to tail. Veld, who took a second and a half out of these guys in the last lap and a half. And Seta Riddell, who's just sat there watching, waiting, as here comes O'Shea side by side with Yeaman for P2. Jeff Connell's in there as well, and Lachlan Capel will be thinking, keep fighting, boys. I'll just drive away. Oh.
Furious and fierce stuff. O'Shea's not quite clear. He's going to go all the way clean around the outside. A millimetre from disaster and contact there. One of the fastest, most committed corners in American motorsport. Escaping. And Connell, I mean, he's been watching and waiting and biding his time here while these other guys have just gone full attack, full beans, haven't they? Capel and O'Shea have lit the fuses in this final stint.
I'm surprised that Connell's last pit stop was as long as it was. I thought he might have been able to maybe gain 3/4 of a second, a full second with less fuel intake in that last stop, but he hasn't been able to make as big an impact as I would have thought. In saying that, looking at fuel, I am a tiny little bit concerned about Brad Watson's fuel. Now, he pitted a lap earlier than these guys in front, but his last pit stop time was almost identical, slightly longer, around about the same time as Dan Yeaman. So I'm thinking he is in a little bit of trouble with fuel potentially. Remember, Aaron Cooper came in at the same time. He took an extra 3 seconds of fuel. Brad Watson may be a lap short.
Veld looks next to try to take a bite out of the apple. Cirillo's trying to cover him off, runs middle of the road until he feels he's safe, which is not yet. He breaks in super deep.
It was nearly too deep there. He just pulled it up very, very well.
It's fair to worry. Yeaman really quick through the pit lane, but now coming under a little bit more attack and a little bit more pressure. Connell's sniffing around. Watson right with them. Despite your questions about the fuel.
I know now at this point there'll be 1 lap to go when they cross the line, so they're probably all going, yes, I'm 100% okay. You always still feel that little bit nervous until you know 100% it's the last lap of the race.
See the white flag.
Yeah,
for sure.
I want it to be one of those ones where there's a... Oh, jeez. Connell.
Sneaky extra lap. Yeah, Connell really looking for a narrow gap to get down the inside of Yeaman there, and doesn't quite work. Cost them both a bit of time to Dylan O'Shea, and doesn't let Brad Watson stay in close. There is the white flag. Lachlan Capel, race leader, first to get it, and then Dylan O'Shea, and then whatever here. Yeaman, Connell now under attack from Watson, moving around on the pit straight. Big wiggle before turning in to turn number 1. Final tour of Road Atlanta, and it's all on for who could have a podium here in the Pro Division. It's definitely all going to be on in the AM Division because, well, Jeffrey Wang's getting away. Gustavo Cirillo trying to fend off Hayden Veld, won't quite be able to do it. Riddle buys into it as well.
Beautiful.
Pushes him off the road.
Lehman's coming too. He's not far off.
It's the last lap. Time's going to expire.
In contact between Watson and Connell too.
Damage to the left there for Connell, isn't there?
Yep, definitely some witness marks. So something
damage to the front right.
Yep.
For Watson. Those two Lego pieces fit together pretty easily. That one's ages 2 to 5. Lachlan Capel leads the way though. Really dropped the hammer after the final pit stop. In fact, he was quick through the pit lane to grab that lead. Final stop as well, and he's going to lead the championship after round 1, season 8. Loz pass.
Oh, it's a bump.
It's going to help him to the line. Jeff Connell just says, "There you go, Brad Watson." And the battles behind him have been very kind to Jeffrey Wang. And I want to see those battles behind him because Hayden Veld's got to defend. Cirillo has been so good on the brakes here as well. Riddle's trying to get a piece, won't get the drive off. Cirillo will. Can Cirillo go around the outside of the final corner? I reckon he can.
Oh, great race.
Whoa. Lehman arriving on the scene. We're wishing for just one more lap, I'm sure. Does that look like Buchanan coasting?
Yeah, Buchanan just had to get out of the throttle there, but what a good job from Lachlan Capel, Dylan O'Shea, Dan Yeaman. They all put on a fantastic show in that one.
Yeah, very exciting. Absolute firecracker of a final stint in that one as well. You smelt them building up to something, you know, batting their way to a final session of the day and then smacking it around the park when it mattered. Absolute dominance when you look at the fastest lap from Lachlan Capel as well. So close through qualifying and through the race, and he finds a little bit of speed the others didn't have right at the end for that win. Ahead of O'Shea, Yeaman, Watson, Cooper, Funslow, Court, Watson, Tyson Broad, and Chu Kang. So, Yeah, that's not the earlier stop. Still might have paid off a little for Chu Kang, and the biggest mover inside of the top 10, Tyson Broad. My goodness, he came from 27th on the grid for that ninth place. Flew under the radar a little bit as well.
Definitely did. Daniel Webster in 11th. Have a look at that group of AM drivers together, 12th through 16th overall, but first through 5th in class. Wang by about 1.7 seconds in the end. Then you've got nothing between Veld, Cirillo, Riddell, and Lehman. Jeff Connell finishes in 17th in the end.
I reckon incident limit.
Incident limit. I'm just looking. Yes, he exceeded the incident limit at the end of the race. So back to 17th instead of getting a 5th place finish. Timothy Audi, Sebastian Flock, good recovery from him, and Stephen Tonkin in 20th. Overall, 6th in class.
Story of a couple of these races. Drivers crossing finish line carrying the black flags, or whatever it may be. Down Tripods, Brady Buchanan, Ben Jeffrey, got Richard Brookfield, Matthew Johnson, Christopher Henn in there, and Adam Jepson, Tim Harris. Oh, he
stop and hold hurt him, didn't it?
Absolutely. Pain in both races after a strong qualifying in the BMW. Brandon Grosh and Dean O'Brien for 30th. Deep field keeps going. Jordan Ferguson in 31st, still on the lead lap. Tom Wilkinson, Kurt Woodward, Ben Faulkner, Tony Baker, and Dale Carpenter just off it. And a rough on for Phil Audie, Brandon Levin, Derek Audie, Graham Smith, and also Luke Fitt, Liam Caplice, Joshua Fitt, Ross Rizzo. Big names, big outs there with Caplice and Rizzo.